Oh, it sounds like hell, but I'm having fun. Welcome to Luthier's Tips, Tools and Training from Crimson Guitars. I'm Ben Crow. I've been thinking for years now about creating 3D inlays, essentially inlays that physically react to their environment. I'm a guitar builder and I'm on a journey through my craft. I'm trying to take elements from other skills, painters or potters or jewelers, and I've got a number of ideas that you're going to see come to light over the next few months. But the quickest and easiest and first port of call is jewellery. I have inlaid cubic zirconias in the side of a fretboard a long time ago. We're going to be doing something similar on these guitars. This is a pair of sister instruments being made out of the 42,000-year-old cowrie that we've got here. That did not go so well. I had to leave those cubic zirconias proud of the side of the fretboard so that they gathered a little bit of light. The way that jewelers do it is they either leave a hole behind the jewel or the gem, or they encase it in a bright shiny piece of metal where the light hits off that and reflects back into the gemstone and off the facets, etc. Or with cheaper jewelry, they take a stone and they essentially gild it with something reflective. I'm going to be doing a combination of both of those things. I have got some very cool 1/4 inch cabochon jewels, so that's round backed gemstones, and I'm going to be covering them with tinfoil because my silver leaf is just far too thin, and I need to go somewhere and learn how to do that. Glass gilding, anyone? Dark art. Now, there are many different stones available. Obviously, tiger's eye is an option, and it's the way they refract, the way these things change in the light that excites me. These black ones are not opaque, they're very solid, and were just as a bit of an experiment. But what I have got for these guitars are these blue agates. You can see what I like about them. So I've stuck them to the end of some toothpicks because I am inlaying them into the fretboards with the flat side up. It's a little bit different to what would normally happen. Now, it is true that I could put these, if it'll behave, in the fretboard basically like so, dome side up, obviously deep enough, and then cover the top with some water clear resin. And to be fair, that is something that I am going to do at some point. But what I like is the thought of putting these in like so and having them act as little satellite dishes where the light goes inside and then bounces around and kicks out with all of the movement that encompasses. But in order to do that, I need to cover the back of this with some foil. Now, the holes we've drilled, it's a 3-part process because I do not have a 1/4 inch or a sharp 1/4 inch center point bit. So I've drilled with a 6mm bit, then gone in reverse with a 1/4 inch cutter, and then with a router bit just held between my fingers to round the bottom off of the cavity. I want these to stand just a little proud so they can be carefully ground flush. Of course, if you have enough self-confidence, you can put the 1/4 inch round over router cutter in your hand drill. Just, hey, don't fuck it up. Aluminium foil. It's very cool how this stuff is made. They take a like 2 or 3 foot thick ingot. I said 2 or 3 foot thick ingot of aluminium, and they shove it through a roller one way, making it a fraction thinner, and through a roller the other way. It goes vroom, 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 and it ends up being microns. Incredible, mind-blowing. Grab a small section of the aluminium foil. It's got a shiny side and a dull side. You want the dull side on the outside, and don't handle the shiny side too much. And I am literally just super gluing this to the inside of the gemstone. Hey, if it works, don't knock it. The stones are on these little sticks. Spread the super glue evenly and dab onto a nice clean bit. Burnish it down. And then when you're sure that it's all over, leave it to dry for a while. And then we're really going to burnish. After they've dried for a little bit, it's to the secret weapon. Now there are other things that can do this, but I was given these burnishing tools by a friend, Ruth Tappan, the gilder, whose YouTube channel you absolutely should check out. Link in the description. Neither of us actually know what they're for, so if you recognize these, I'm thinking bookbinding or leather work potentially, maybe when you're gilding leather, but it's a fantastic burnisher. And I want to burnish the aluminium down until it is absolutely shiny. And if you jump the gun and do it too soon, you can see what happens. The super glue hasn't cured because I'm excited and I've got patchy bits. But that's fine. I will take this off and go again. Damn it, Ben, you're just too excited. Luckily, with the help of a tiny chisel, we're scraping the glue layer and the aluminium off quite easily without damaging the stone, which is obviously of key importance. Now I can repolish this stone if required, but it's not. So yeah, we're all good. Maybe I should have chosen a smaller chisel. Cue this chisel saying there can be only one. There we go. So the theory here is that the burnishing, because the material is so thin, is also going through to the other side and polishing up, cleaning off any little inconsistencies. Did you hear the stick break? I put too much pressure on that. It may not be necessary. I've lost it. But I'm going to do it 20 times in any case. Yeah, there we go. At least 20 times. Now how do I do it? Damn it, Ben Crow. Ooh. It's a good thing I've done the edges already. See what I mean? Of course, this is also a job that could be done by a tiny chisel over here. So the shiny bit at the end there burnishes things off quite nicely as well. I'm the guy that when faced with a task that requires a tool, will first of all have a look around and see what is within, arm's reach first, just to keep myself on my toes. I might have the exact right tool for the job, but oftentimes I'll use my Leatherman or a random chisel or something like that, and yeah, it works. It's not quite as good, but hey. When they're all shiny and nice, it's just a case of figuring out how to snip them off. And yeah, we're going to glue these in place. Now, the gluing up, I've got another tiny stick, and in this case I've taken some plasticine, and I'm just making a lovely little dabby stick. Just double check that it fits nicely. Spooge the super glue. Remember, this fretboard has been pre-finished with super glue, and I'm expecting to sand it down. Dab of accelerator, and I have a reusable stick. Slightly reusable. This stuff actually melts with the accelerator after a little while, so it will need to be replaced. There's that tiny chisel again. Too much, Ben. Yeah. Tiny chisel. I love this tool. I really do use it for probably too much. See, the glue just peels off. Cool, huh? So far, so convoluted. Next up, we need diamonds. Yeah. These things are hard. Okay, I've got a variety of diamond files floating around. The cheap ones, you never really know how long they'll last. But I don't want to damage the fretboard too much if I can avoid it. So, well, masking tape. This lowers the surface area that you'll be able to access, but at least initially, yeah, that's not very good. Because you've got a radius on the fretboard, it's still probably not doing enough, and this is a really cheap file. I don't like that. I've got these things. That at least sounds like it's working. And yeah, if I pay attention to what's happening, maybe the masking tape can go on the fretboard. I think I'm in this for the long haul. Not heating up either. Not yet. Almost there. I got to do this 20 times. It's going to take a while. Well, that was actually a lot easier than it could have been, because I remembered that I do actually have a rather large diamond plate. This is the Shapton diamond plate for flattening the sharpening stones, which will come into play shortly, actually. And once things are roughly level, you can use this to do the whole thing like a leveling beam, etc. So yeah, the last thing you want to do though is nick the edge of one of these things and shatter it, which is something to bear in mind. Also, these gaps are almost too big, so I'm doing this with some control, or trying to. As it levels out, it becomes easier and less pants-wettingly scary. Once everything is starting to get nice and flat, you can concentrate on an area and go back and forth. I will hear when I start hitting the wood and know when to stop, but you can also check with your fingers to see if you're going off to one side. So for example, that's a little bit high on that side, so I need to angle it slightly. Now it just needs polishing up. Now, I'm a huge fan of the Shapton sharpening stones. They're essentially a diamond impregnated ceramic. This is not really fair on the stones, because using them is going to create a dish. I'll have to flatten them, but it is by far the most efficient way of getting a polish on these gemstones. And because it is so fine, it's not going to damage the wood, which also has a finish on it already, which means I can use a little bit of water as a cutting compound, a cutting medium or lubricant essentially. Remember, the fret slots have been impregnated with glue as well, so I'm not worried about damaging the fretboard in any way. This is all the way up to, this is 8,000 grit I'm using at the moment. And I'm not going to leave the water on there for long. And finally, all the way up to 16,000. I am going to do it slightly wet. And we're starting to see what we've got going on. Now these white irises, or whatever it is, in the center, well, they're not in the center, are they? Because that is based on where the light is hitting the back of the cabochon. And as the light source moves, that moves. And that is the whole reason for all of these shenanigans. Yeah. I like. Can you imagine if you had LEDs behind here as well, or lasers or something? So, well, what do you think? Now, I'm not sure if you can make it out, potentially in some of those shiny spots, but there you go. I think you can see that on there. I still have some scratches where I've gone too fast through the grits. So I'm now going to sit down and, with a set of these sharpening stones, but relatively inexpensive, with this set of knife sharpening stones, Amazon, I think it was about 40 quid. I'm going to individually polish all 20 of these through the grits and just make sure that they are all as shiny and transparent as they can be. Oh, it sounds like hell, but I'm having fun. So after about 2 days, 2.5 days of thoroughly overthinking things and trying every single method and going backwards and forwards and putting scratches in and taking scratches out, etc., I realized that I was overthinking things and causing trouble for myself. What I've been trying to avoid is the age-old problem of sanding a hard thing that is suspended inside of a soft thing, because you tend to sand more of the soft stuff away, which is why I've been using the sanding stones or the sharpening stones. And they are fantastic to get the inlays, the gemstones, to the same level as the wood and to get most of the way there. But the final stage, it turns out, is literally just to use a sanding block and some silicon carbide, wet and dry sandpaper. Who knew? That is not to say that I'm not going to overcomplicate the very final stage. Once these fretboards are in the neck, the frets are in, and everything is absolutely done, I'm going to create a sticker mask to protect the fretboard, or some sort of a jig to basically protect the fretboard. And I'm going to make some tiny little silicon rubber rotary tools that are impregnated with silicon carbide that I will put into a rotary carver, and I will just individually polish up each one to the nth degree. But for now, I've got them to the level where they are shiny and scratch free and almost good enough, and I'm very happy. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. I'm very happy, very, very happy with the result. Next time around, make sure to inlay the gemstones far closer to the top level of the fretboard. You can glue a piece of wood across the entire gemstone so it stops at on 2 sides or 3 sides, or you could even glue it flat down to a piece and then suspend that over the whole fretboard so that it is perfectly level. And then there's a lot less flatting down. The polishing is annoying, but not too much of an issue unless you're actually inlaying diamonds, in which case, yeah, well, lots of diamond files. Would this be easier with resin? Yes, of course. But this is better. It may not be this much effort better, but it's better. And it's certainly something that I'm enjoying experimenting with. Thank you for watching. Click like, subscribe, share this with friends. If you're a jeweler, tell me what I'm doing wrong. Tell me what I could do better. Send me links to tools that you think I need to own or make or look at. And yeah, most importantly, stop watching videos, unless they're mine, and go and make something. Thanks for watching. See you soon.